So we're about 2.5 weeks into the Van Halen tour, and our tour manager comes up to me saying that I think we just got kicked off the tour. I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, yeah, Sammy, he doesn't like what you're doing on stage. You're not getting the crowd hyped enough, and you guys need to leave.
Wow.
But like 20 minutes later, my tour manager comes back in. Alex and Eddie were like, we want to talk to Raine. So I go into the dressing room and they're like, what's going on? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I think we're gone. And they're like, nah. You're not going anywhere. And they said, it's just Sammy. He's a different kind of frontman than you. Don't worry about it. We love what you're doing. You guys sound great. You're staying. The brothers were amazing, man. And they saved the band's ass.
Turn your speakers up to 11 because it's time for Too Much Effing Perspective, the podcast that asks musicians and entertainers to relive their most Spinal Tap moments that may not have been funny when they happened, but are hilarious in retrospect. I'm your host, Alan Keller, former lead singer of the least heralded Chicago band, The Falling Willendas.
And I'm your co-host, Alex Hoffman, former tour manager for Radiohead and former lead singer of the least heralded Milwaukee band, The Vainglorious.
Our guest today has not only toured with Van Halen, but he's also opened for Robert Plant, Jimmy Page, Kiss, rest in peace Ace Frehley, and the Rolling Stones, Our Lady Peace's Raine Maida.
Raine tells us about the time Sammy Hagar tried to get Our Lady Peace kicked off a Van Halen tour, how his band snuck out of the infamous Woodstock 99 before the whole festival literally went up in flames, and how pathetic Kiss's costumes look without the band members actually inside them.
So without further ado, let's go to the TMEP show.
It really puts perspective on things, though, doesn't it?
Not too much. There's too much
Yeah,
effing perspective now.
Alex, you know I love Canada. I've been to the big three, Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver, and loved each one, although when I got to the airport in Vancouver, I forgot to check about $150 worth of maple syrup, and they took all the bottles.
Are you kidding?
I brain freezed on that, and I brought it to carry on. So I lost all that delicious maple syrup. I hope you're having a fun time up there drinking my maple syrup, Mr. Mountie. But anyways, I love Canada so much, I'm thinking about perhaps moving there next year. And I've even applied to two of their finest universities, University of Toronto and McGill. And as you know, Alex, I am planning to go to London, but maybe I won't go as far, and maybe I'll just go to Canada just to be closer to you and Gretchen.
Well, that'd be very thoughtful of you. And that is putting your money where your mouth is in terms of your love of our northern neighbor.
Yeah, and maybe I can get my maple syrup back. But
Maybe.
I did have an incident happen to me in Canada decades ago that haunts me to this day.
The maple syrup loss seems haunting enough, but what else happened? Did they try to steal your back bacon as well?
Back bacon. I'm sure they would have tried. But this is not a story of swine. This is a story of fish. Now, one thing our listeners probably don't know about me, but could maybe assume, is that I'm not a real fan of nature. I mean, I'm not cheering on global warming or recreationally fracking on the weekend or anything, but I'd much rather be in a coffee shop than on a beach.
Honestly, Alan, I don't get that. You live in Southern California. You have access to beautiful beaches. I love nature.
Why I don't like nature may have something to do with my father, Milton, who he never took my family on a picnic or to collect leaves or pick fruit, or, we didn't go on a family trip to Yosemite ever. We were just that kind of family. So it really surprised me when I was 14 when Milton, my father, said to me, boy, which is what he referred to me as. He said, boy, you and I are going fishing next weekend.
I met your dad. He seems like he could pull some rabbits out of hats. So it sounds like par for the course. Anyway, go on.
And I just want to say one more fact about this trip, which I won't go into detail on, but he actually picked the week my mom was going in for surgery for us to go on this vacation. So that says a lot about our relationship and a lot about therapy sessions that I'll have to attend at some point in my life.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Keep going.
So we get to this fishing camp in a place called Kenora. And our schedule was every day we'd wake up very early and fish until 10 or 11. Then we'd go gather firewood and cook our winnings. if that's what you call them. And our first day was great. We caught 40 walleye, pike, and whatever else fish name there is out there.
That's incredible. That's a good haul.
Well, okay, let me be clear here. I caught 0, my dad caught 0, and our native Canadian guide caught 40.
That's your First Nation Canadian guide, caught all the fish. Well, good. I suppose that makes sense for you city slickers.
That's what he referred to us as, actually. And at that point in time, we rowed the boat to the shore where there was a big beaver's den on the shore. And my dad goes, boy, go get some firewood. I'm probably 14 at the time, so I'm kind of moody and lazy. And so I go out there and I start picking up twigs and probably clumps of dirt. And he finally goes, no, boy, you got to get branches and sticks. So I go, okay. So I pick up this big branch and I show it to my dad proudly, and immediately my entire leg, all the way up to my thigh, falls through the beaver's hut. And so he goes, get out of there. And so I like struggle and I'm like pushing myself out and I pull myself out of this hole. And then I just lie with my back on this big pile of wood and look at the sun. I'm like, oh, why did I go on this trip? And my dad goes, you can't do anything, right? And he gets out of the boat and I can hear him gathering like big trunks and stuff. But then I hear him go, shit. And I look over and a swarm of yellow jackets came out of the hole I created with my leg and swarmed him, not me.
Holy mackerel.
And I delighted in the schadenfreude of the moment, and I'm laughing until, of course, I'm out there too. And the yellow jacket hornets start attacking me, and I start going shit. And my dad and I grab our sweatshirts, which had been tied around our waist, and start helicoptering them as we run back to the boat. And we get back to the boat, and our guide takes us back to the cabin and we assess the damage. I think my dad got 12, 14 stings. I got about 5, and these were pretty horny hornets because all of our stings were below the waist and mine were specifically in a very delicate region.
Ooh, that's quite an ordeal. That explains a few things. And, obviously you told this tale because our guest today, the lead singer of one of Canada's most popular rock bands, Our Lady Peace, Raine Maida, I mean, we didn't ask him about going fishing with his dad or any kind of wildlife experiences with Canada, but we should have. Now that we know this story, we definitely should have brought that up.
We should have. We were remiss.
I guess,
He does talk about hockey, though, right? He brings up hockey. So if you're not going to talk about fishing and you're from Canada, I'm sure you got to talk about hockey, right?
Yeah.
And maple syrup.
Yeah, I guess that's right. Well, anyway, no spoilers. So,
okay, sorry.
Let's get into our conversation with Raine Maida. But first, a short break.
And now a musician who met his wife at a Pearl Jam concert, Our Lady Peace's Raine Maida.
Raine, welcome to Too Much Effing Perspective. Thanks so much for joining us. Let's get right into it. As you reflect on the history of Our Lady Peace, is there a pinnacle Spinal Tap moment that will forever be etched in your mind?
That's interesting. So we put out our first record called Naveed, and we were busting our butt down here, and we had a half school bus that we were touring in, and we put, I think, over 500,000 miles on it in the course of like 18 months. And we're on Columbia Records down here, and this is moving to our second record, and we were on tour with a band called Sponge out of Detroit and a band from Boston called Letters to Cleo. It was amazing. We were all kind of coming up, and we had record company support, and it was like 2,000, 2,500 cap clubs sold out. Kids were going crazy, stage diving, selling tons of merch. It was just an incredible time in a young band's life. I felt like this is it. Like this is moving somewhere really special. Then we get a call, and it is our manager saying, Van Halen really likes you guys, and they want you to come out and tour with them. And it starts in like 4 days. Which means we had to jump off this tour that we're on. And I said, no, there's no way. Like I kind of grew up on Van Halen a little bit. I liked 1984, but like I wasn't going to leave this tour that felt so profoundly critical to our success to go play in front of Van Halen, where I knew the fans wouldn't care about us and it was going to be just a drag. My manager was like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, trust me. What we're doing out here is amazing. This is the right thing to do. Calls back 2 hours later. He's like, we have a problem. The Van Halen guys really want you guys, And now our label knows about it. And they said, if you guys go do the tour, you're dropped.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah. A good manager would have tried to like coax you into doing it without laying that on the line. You are dropped. And I was like, we're dropped? And he's like, that's what he said to me. I was like, oh my goodness. I guess I don't have a choice. So we literally had to say goodbye to all our friends in that tour. And we went and joined the Van Halen tour. But that's not even the good part of the story. So we're about 2.5 weeks in the Van Halen tour and kind of already becoming friends with Eddie, who's super kind to us, and his brother Alex. Michael was cool. And Sammy was a little bit standoffish, but he's a singer. I get it. And these places are packed. It's amphitheaters, 20,000 people every night. Crazy. The crowds are literally giving me the finger the whole time. Our whole 40 minutes, they're just
Oh,
standing there with
shit.
their fingers up in the front row. I'm like, no problem. We got to earn it. I got to win you guys over. But the difference is I've never been like this big talker on stage. When you talk about PJ Harvey or Radiohead, I kind of come more from that camp where it's like, let the art speak for itself. I'll say a few things. I'm not a rah, rah, rah guy. So about 2.5 weeks in, our tour manager comes up to me. Same guy that kept handing my phone from my manager saying we have to do this tour or we're dropped, and saying that I think we just got kicked off the tour. I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, yeah, Sammy just said he doesn't like what you're doing on stage. You're not getting the crowd hyped enough. You're kind of a downer and you guys need to leave. And I was like, you got to be kidding me, man. We just literally got kicked off a Van Halen tour. So, tail between my legs, I was like, can I talk to Sammy? He was like, I don't think so. I think it's done. So I go back to our bus. I'm sitting there in shock. Can't believe I'm going to have to tell my mom this, that I got kicked off the Van Halen tour.
Wow.
We couldn't go back on the other tour, so it's not like our summer's ruined. But like 20 minutes later, my tour manager comes back in. His name was Kevin. He's passed away since, but I mean, such vivid memories of him. He's like, Alex and Eddie want to see you in their dressing room. And these guys all had separate dressing rooms, right? As you can imagine. Talk about Spinal Tap. It's like all got off the stage. They had a person holding a bathrobe for him, beautiful bathrobe. I saw this every night. And they get into their separate limos. They go to the jet and then they fly to the next city. But Alex and Eddie were like, we want to talk to Raine. So I go into their dressing room and they're like, what's going on? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I think we're gone. Nah. You're not going anywhere. And they said, it's just Sammy. He's a different kind of front man than you. Don't worry about it. We love what you're doing. You guys sound great. You're staying. And my head's like spinning at this point. I don't know what I'm even doing in this music business anymore because I feel like a pinball emotionally and spiritually. I'm just trying to sing songs every night and people are telling me to leave a tour. Then I'm kicked off a tour. Then I'm not. Anyway, we didn't get kicked off. I ended up talking to Sammy and I just said, I'm not you, man. Like, I love what you do. You're an incredible singer. I love Van Halen. We want to be on this tour, but I'm just a different type of artist, and I hope that's cool. And he was cool with it. But the brothers were amazing, man, and they kind of saved the band's ass, I guess.
Jeez.
Wow. That is an incredible story. It's not hilarious in retrospect. It sucks in retrospect. It's actually hard to hear it.
I can laugh now.
No, he stayed on the tour though. But I mean,
He did.
that was Sam Halen versus Van Halen. To me, they're different bands.
Well, I've never heard that. That's wild. That's amazing.
I've heard Van Hagar before.
Okay, that works too.
I mean, it's just so interesting, right? We've heard from one of your other tour mates, Ed Roland from Collective Soul, how great Eddie was. Here's one of the most amazing rock and roll and musical talents of probably a couple generations, right? And to have him be such a
Amazing.
kind guy. But it is hard to hear about a young artist being just kind of between your label jerking you one way and then thinking you're leaving something that feels really good. The flow is there. And then the Van Halen tour and then feel like that's going to get pulled too. It's just like, God, gut wrenching.
Yeah.
You guys talk about Spinal Tap, like you're reminding me of that moment when they're sitting, the label president's there and they present the record, whatever, the smell the glove thing. And they're like, if you don't change this, we're not putting it out. And the band hears that. And as an artist, I like to just be a musician, try to get better in my craft, write songs, record them. All the other stuff is like peripheral to me. So when you finally get to hear that, oh, we're not even going to believe in you guys, we're going to drop the band because of one decision on a tour, it's just like, I don't like this business. I don't like the business of music.
Yeah.
This kind of sucks. And to see that so early on was probably a blessing in disguise because it gave me a perspective that I didn't have and probably needed to learn and help me make other decisions later on. But that shit is heavy, man. And I was just talking to Ed a few days before we left the tour about the Van Halen tour, because we did like 55 shows that summer, and then they did the fall tour. So very close to each other.
Wow, you did 55 shows with Van Halen?
Crazy, man.
That's pretty awesome. So you mentioned Spinal Tap and Smell the Glove. So that's a natural on-ramp to a question that we ask every guest, which is, what is your favorite scene in the film This Is Spinal Tap, and why?
It's probably not a famous scene really, but I just feel like I've lived it many times over. It's when they're walking into the hotel and can't remember his name, the WKRP guys, the manager and the band's there, and it's like, oh, we're playing the arena. And it's just that hierarchy that changes and switches in the music business, but every once in a while you're on the bottom and you meet someone and it's like, oh, things are going amazing for them, and a little bit tougher for you. It's such a tangible thing for, I think, everyone. Like I said, it's very fluid, this business, right? So just having those interactions in hotels is freaking funny, man. It's so funny.
I love that you brought up WKRP in Cincinnati and Howard Hessman, because one of the first people I met in LA that I recognized was at a coffee shop, and it's an actress, and her name's Julie Payne. And Julie actually is one of the mimes in Spinal Tap.
Oh, really?
But she also was...
No way. With Billy Crystal?
Yes.
And Dana Carvey.
I think she's actually in the Bobby Fleckman scene, and she's got a tray. But nice. I recognized her because she's actually Buffy on WKRP, which was Howard Hessman, Johnny Fever's girlfriend on the show.
Oh, wow. What was first? Was Spinal Tap before WKRP?
No, WKRP is before Spinal Tap.
It was, okay.
That's got to be late 70s, early 80s. Yeah.
So that's why she's in Spinal Tap.
Yeah, and they're part of the committee, which was a big improv group up in San Francisco, Howard Hessman and Julie Payne. But that's somehow they wiggled their way onto Spinal Tap. But that's awesome that you said that, because no one's ever brought that up before.
Yeah, and we're Spinal Tap nerds. So the rock star was Duke Fame, and right. He was playing, I think they were in Nashville, he was playing the EnormoDome.
The EnormoDome, exactly.
EnormoDome. Yes.
That's it. I mean, you just got to suck it up and say, hey, congrats. I'm so happy for you guys.
We had a really great story from, did you ever hear of the band, the Mekons?
Yeah.
So the Mekons, John Langford's a friend, and he was on, and he tells us a story about him playing in 76 or 77. And, he's a punk icon, right? And they're a punk band. They're playing, I believe, in Leeds, and they have this young band opening for them. And this young band gets on stage, and there's not many people there, but they're opening for the Mekons. And the lead singer's doing all these like stadium moves, And John Langford's going, this is shite. I mean, do they understand this is what we're all fighting against? And then the manager actually of the other band actually went up to the lead singer and said, watch the Mekons. You got to be more like the Mekons. And it was U2.
Oh, wow. Really? Holy cow.
It was Bono in front of 10 people doing what he does at Glastonbury. And
oh my
and John
goodness.
Langford, he was shite.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I don't know if there's like a specific band. I mean, there's bands that we knew coming up, like Nickelback. Those guys used to come to our shows in Calgary all the time. And then all of a sudden we're like, we're down here playing a festival. I can't remember, somewhere like Milwaukee or something. Their headline was like, oh, what's up, Chad? How's it going? It happened like instantly, So it's, like I said, the music business is amazing like that because it's fluid and things change. But God, those hotel moments are amazing.
It's so amazing that you randomly said Milwaukee. It may have been subliminal given Alan's hat, but he and I both lived in Milwaukee. We met in Milwaukee.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Alan grew up there, and I lived there for 8 years.
That's cool. I mean, we just actually played a festival with Nickelback outside of Milwaukee.
Summerfest?
No. It was between Chicago and Milwaukee.
Oh, that's Alpine Valley. Is that where you were?
Yeah.
Oh, Alpine Valley.
Alpine Valley.
Yeah, that is where Stevie Ray Vaughan died, actually.
That's right.
We're going to tell bummer stories on this episode.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
that's
right.
depressing.
That was like back in 1990, a helicopter accident.
Can I move to a bummer story? Because I really think it's fascinating, the history of your song.
Whatever.
Whatever, yeah. It's obviously not a moment that turns out in retrospect hilarious, but it certainly is a Spinal Tap moment. It reminds me of obviously Charles Manson using Helter Skelter as a rally cry. Can you tell that little story if you wouldn't mind?
Yeah, I mean, they asked a bunch of bands back in 2003. We were lumped in with like the Limp Bizkits and all those types of bands, and they had 9 or 10 bands do, I guess there are theme songs for wrestlers, like their walk-on songs, and then they put out this album. So we were paired up with a wrestler called Chris Benoit. We went and met him at a restaurant, and he came in, he had a neck brace on. He was kind of like, these guys that have to take so many drugs because they wrestled the night before and then they're wrestling 2 nights later, and he just wasn't in great spirits, and you could tell he was in pain and couldn't really talk, and I guess he was gonna wrestle even though he had a neck brace on. So his wife was with him, and she kinda did the talking for him, and it was just kind of a sad dinner. But we did the song, and then the album came out, and really before we were able to tour and play the song, this horrific tragedy happened. I think it was suicide and murder, and obviously, maybe some CTE,
Yeah.
obviously depression, mental health issues, crises, all these things that converged and caused Chris to kind of lose it. And so we never played the song. We just were like, it just doesn't feel right. So we kind of shelved it. And then we just had our 30th anniversary for Our Lady Peace, and we called this thing OLP 30. And I just felt like, okay, we got to let the fans be a part of it. So just asked the fans, okay, let us know what songs you want us to play. There's deep cuts, we'll start adding stuff to the set list. This is just as much about you guys as it is about us, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden, every one out of 4 DMs, people are like, look, Raine, I know you probably won't ever play this song, but I've never heard whatever. And it's like our number 2 or 3 most played song on Spotify down here in the US. And so after you start seeing all these things, I'm like, oh man, should we consider this? And then I got a couple lengthy DMs, but so thoughtful. And the way these fans explained it, kind of saying, look, I've tried to commit suicide. I know what that darkness feels like. I'm in crisis a lot. There's probably a way where you can turn this song into a positive. So basically, we re-recorded it, changed some lyrics, started playing it, and the reactions have been amazing. So I think we've been able to take some sort of ownership back of it and put this really positive spin. Plus, we're donating every streaming cent to mental health awareness and suicide hotlines across America.
Our Lady Peace and Collective Soul both played at Woodstock 99, which was kind of this infamous...
What happened there?
Oh, really?
I'm kidding.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. That's good. Good deadpan. Yeah, I mean, Woodstock 94, I think, was kind of brought Woodstock, and Collective Soul played there too. Ed told us some really funny stories about being very early in their career and being really starstruck as they walked around backstage. But 99 didn't go quite as well. Tell us a little bit about your experience there. And again, anything that happened that would qualify as a Spinal Tap moment?
There was one of those things. We got there on, I guess, the Friday night. I think Rage was on and the Metallica was on after them. I was like, this is amazing. There were so many people there. This was like a highlight in our career for sure. And then the next day, we played after Willie Nelson, which was like another highlight, like to say, hey, Willie. Yeah,
Wow.
and it's just like another icon, right? But then after that, I remember I wanted to go walk around and go to the other stage to see some other bands. And I was like, yo, I'm still thirsty. And I went to buy water. And this sounds stupid now because $8 doesn't mean anything now for water. But $8 back then for water, I was like, this is freaking crazy. This is outrageous. And you weren't allowed to bring your own water in. And so without even thinking, I was like, wow, that's insane. And then across the day, it just got hotter and hotter. And I heard people bitching about the price of water, and like they were drinking out of these hoses that they were finding. I was like, that is not good water. And then you could just sense, man, this thing was like something was going to go. And so we got the hell out of there. Like literally, we all got back to our bus at different times, and we all had a conversation. And like our tour manager's like, I think we should go. And we went, and like everybody knows what happened, after that, the fires and all the other stories that came out later. But it's kind of sad that I sensed that, because I would have loved to just hang around and had an amazing Woodstock, like original day seeing artists. But the fact that you felt like as an artist you had to get out of there was kind of scary.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Since when is $8 for water? I mean, that's still shocking to me. You said it was back then and it's more now. Where are you buying water? I know you're closer to Brentwood than I am, and maybe water is $15.
I only buy water on the west side, so
Yeah.
You got
No,
the West Side water?
no,
8 loons.
but isn't that funny the way you say that? And like, actually, it is still expensive today. Like 20 years ago, that's insane.
That's
It is
insane.
insane.
They were just literally ripping people off. It was crazy.
Well, my water bill in Studio City is like $1,000 a month because my landlady, for some reason, wants to water our lawn, which of course it looks like Fallujah back there. It's absolutely like the worst. And I'm paying for it. So I guess $1,000 a month for water probably translates into $8 a bottle.
That sounds like a lot to me. We don't have a lawn, so I mean, maybe that's why ours is less than that.
Lawns are ridiculous.
You were just on tour with Collective Soul and Live, and that's a great lineup and probably a lot of fun guys on that tour. So any funny incidents you can relate that are fresh in mind?
Oh my gosh, it was just a blast. The song lists are amazing and the musicianship is incredible, but they're all like awesome guys. I mean, Ed Kowalczyk has a shoe problem for sure. Like that dude's buying shoes every day and expensive freaking shoes, which I thought was really funny. And I love Ed Rollins to death. I love him like a brother. That guy is a rock star. When you think of Collective Soul, I don't think the first thing you think it's not like some of these other acts, but he and his girlfriend, Victoria, she's not in the band, but before catering at dinner at 5 o'clock, they put on matching outfits.
Uh-oh. Were they Zodiac shirts like Janine and Spinal Tap?
I'm talking like full bedazzled baby blue pants with a matching top and big collars. And then Victoria would be wearing it too. And they'd walk down the hall and it's just like, that is unbelievable. That is so incredible that someone does that, I could never do that in my life. Like you couldn't pay me to do that. And man, the confidence that Ed pulls it off with, and he's just that guy. And he goes up on stage and she sits side stage watching him in the matching outfit. I just thought it was brilliant. Like it was so good. And I'm just in awe.
Well, I loved Ed. Ed and I really bonded on this show because Ed's a huge sports fan.
Yes.
And Alex and I are big Green Bay Packers fans, and Ed had just sang the national anthem. And he said, if you want to get Collective Soul for cheap, have us sing the national anthem at your ball game.
He sang that for the Packers?
Yeah, at the Packers game at Lambeau Field.
Oh, wow. Is he not a Packers fan, is he?
No, he's not.
He's a Falcons fan.
He's got to be a Falcons fan, right?
Yeah.
Atlanta boys.
But loves sports.
I try to kill time on the road. My bass player and I, we find like a public muni course and play golf, walk around 18 holes and it kills an afternoon on a day off. Ed says he's a great golfer. Never played with us once because they opened for us on our Canadian tour and he's like, bring your six. We're going to bet, I'm a 6 handicap. And then the first day of the tour, he's like, oh man, I sprained my ankle. I was like, this is a 9-week tour, Ed. You got 4 weeks to heal. And then let's get out there and let's put some money on. Never played. Never got out there once.
That's very funny.
I'm waiting, Ed.
I was thinking about some of the tour hijinks between bands. There was a legendary story about Kiss having Rush opening for them. And the last show of the tour, from the lighting rig, the Kiss roadies were like sprinkling flour down on the Rush guys. Then when Kiss went on stage, the Rush crew rolled marbles out on the stage. And of course, they're out there in their platform shoes. And when I was on tour with Radiohead, we did a co-headline with Belly, Tanya Donnelly's band. And there was fun stuff that was happening. We hung out together a lot, and Tom York and Tanya would do a song together during their set and stuff like that. But the very last night was at the Warfield in San Francisco. And in the middle of Belly's set, somebody lowered a goose on a rope,
like
goodness, a goose decoy or something like that, and brought that down from the lighting rig. So anyway, was there that sort of hijinks between you guys?
No, I thought maybe we were kind of cautious around the end of it. Where were we? In Atlantic City. I thought maybe something was going on, but it was a long tour. I think everyone was just too tired at that. But it does remind me, we had a band opening up for us on a headline tour to the US a long time ago called Black Lab. They were good guys, We were always going after each other, but at the end of their set when the last show, we were pumping music, vocal music through their wedges while they were trying to hear themselves and play. And they were just flipping out. They did their best not to stop, but it was just too hilarious. It was amazing.
A very relevant story is Spinal Tap was playing Glastonbury and
Wembley.
Oh, it's Wembley, and Slash fucked with Christopher Guest's amp. You could see it on YouTube, and it was very uncomfortable.
Oh my gosh. You guys mentioned Kiss before. Can't remember where it was. Somewhere in the South, like New Orleans or something. We were on a festival with Kiss. And of course, it's like you can't go near the stage when Kiss is coming through, blah, 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 that kind of thing. But if there's ever a way to take the piss out of a band, it was, I guess the show they played the night before was really hot. And when we first got backstage, we had full access to everything. And our bass player is a huge Kiss fan. So this was demoralizing for him. We saw all their little outfits hung up outside, airing out and drying. And to see those costumes on a hanger and how small they were, just kind of hanging, I was like, there it is, man. What are we doing here?
Even more deflating is I just saw Paul Stanley at Whole Foods last week in Sherman Oaks. And to see him picking out artichokes, it just kind of deflates. Yeah. They weren't calling Dr. Love at all.
You got a good reference there, Alan. I'm actually impressed that you could pull out an actual Kiss song.
I like that. I had it on 8-track tape. Dr. Love, was that the name of the album?
That was a hit song. I can't remember if that was on Rock and... Wait, yeah, I think that was the name of the album.
Yeah.
I think that was the name of the album. Yeah.
It's a good album.
I had every Kiss album up through Alive 2 when I was a kid, a young kid. That sort of reminds me, we had Dan Konopka from OK Go on as a guest, who, by the way, had hellacious experiences crossing the border into your country because they mistakenly thought he had drugs in his bags. He was having a big problem. But
it's all cool now.
It's all cool now.
Everyone's smoking in Canada. It's all good now.
Yeah, well, right. It's more the threat is coming our direction, I guess.
That's right.
But in any case, he talked about working with the Muppets and how a Muppet, when they're with their handlers, are all alive and lively. But then when they put them down, like all the life goes out of them.
Yeah, they're dead.
And it just reminded me of like what those
That's
kids.
it. That's exactly what I felt like. Yeah. It was like you could hold it up with your two fingers and dangle the little outfit. And it was really profound. It's also because those things are so freaking tight. They're made out of spandex. So it's like you pull them out of a gum machine.
Yeah, that is really funny. Raine, been a good sport about all this stuff.
I'm a serious artist, but I'll do this shit with you guys.
Well, I also got to say, you're probably among, if not the most well-dressed artist we've had.
I thought I had to dress up.
Let's just say it right now. The people who don't know what Raine looks like, he looks like Bradley Cooper. I mean, we're wasting him on an audio podcast here.
I just ate at his restaurant in New York, that cheesesteak place.
How was it?
Legit. I wanted to hate it. It was so good.
Yeah.
Danny and Coops. Oh, wow. Like, so good.
That dude can't do anything wrong.
I know.
So what we're going to do here to kind of close things out is our head writer, ChatGPT, gave us a few Our Lady Peace Spinal Tap anecdotes.
Which are 50% incorrect
Yeah,
usually.
let me see. It was right here.
Yeah. So you can confirm or deny. And if you confirm or half confirm, you can certainly elaborate or embellish, okay? But we're going for the truth here. We are all about the true Spinal Tap moment stories. So this goes back to 99, and Our Lady Peace was gearing up to launch your album, Happiness is Not a Fish That You Can Catch. And you were planning to perform a few clandestine gigs under the name Belly Flop Communist.
True.
Which I like.
True. And okay, great. So that is true. And you even got t-shirts printed up for the shows. But then somehow the word got out on the radio, right? The undercover guerrilla gig thing got kind of spoiled. Is that what happened? True or false?
The word did get out because we spread it because we were sitting there at like 7:30 and there was like 4 people in the club for Belly Flop Communists. And we're like, this is going to suck. We need to get some OLP fans in here. So we leaked it. We definitely leaked it. I hate to say that, but we did.
Okay, fair enough.
Marketing.
All right, that's good. Okay, so then I think this is probably of the, let's see, is this the same era? Not sure. So you were recording your album Clumsy, And you ended up going to a lakeside cottage, I think, of your bass player, Duncan, near Muskoka. Is Muskoka in Canada?
Yep.
What province is that in?
It's like 2 hours north of Toronto. Takes 8 hours to get to, but it's 2 hours north.
I'll bet. So you spent the days recording and worked in some casual afternoon ice hockey to mix things up. And at the end of it all, you had 20 songs worthy of recording, it says. So is the ice hockey peppered in with the recording sessions? Fact or fiction?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you could call the way we skate and play hockey per se, but we got out there, we shoveled the lake, and we would play hockey, man. It was sick. Great memories. Very Canadian.
You don't like hockey?
I don't, I've been in LA for 25 years, so I feel like I've fallen off the hockey tip big time, unfortunately.
I guess the fact that you don't like hockey, were you asked to leave Canada? Is that why you've been in LA for?
Let me clarify for any Canadian listeners. It's not like I don't like hockey. I just have fallen off. That's all.
All right. Lastly, I guess it was your original guitarist, Mike Turner.
Mm-hmm.
So he was an early member of Our Lady Peace and left the band at some point. And then you guys decided, again, in a very Kissian style, because Kiss has done this too, but I feel like you guys maybe did it first. You brought Mike back using a hologram. Is that true or false?
Very true.
And how'd that work?
It was insane. So we made a record in 2001 called Age of Spiritual Machines based off this futurist named Ray Kurzweil. It was all about AI, really. It was about like all these predictions from his book, and we made a record kind of based on that concept. So in 2023, we made a follow-up called Spiritual Machines 2. He has another book that came out then with the next set of predictions for the next 25 years. And just so you know, like 92% of his predictions from the first book came true. Driverless cars, cochlear implants, AI, all this kind of stuff. But what we decided to do, because we wanted to have Ray, every time we were in Boston, when the first record came out, Ray would kind of introduce us on stage somewhere, wherever we were playing. On this record, he was, he's getting older, works for Google, doesn't have the time. It's like, it'd be great to have Ray kind of on stage with us every night. So we went to Boston, hung out with him for a couple of days, recorded him. And there's these new holograms, they're in boxes, but it's so freaking realistic. It's mind blowing. And then we were like, Mike was such a big part of that record back in the day. We need to honor that, have him be on stage with us as well. He actually played with us live on a few shows too, but every night he'd come out as a hologram and play to some of the songs from the first few records and Spiritual Machines. We also had Nadia from Pussy Riot. She guested on a song that we did on that newer record. She'd pop up and sing her song with us. We had a soldier from Ukraine come on, and we were doing donations to Ukraine at that time. These holograms were insane.
Wait a second. You played with Pussy Riot?
She's a feature on a song we did about 4 years ago called Stop Making Stupid People Famous.
Could you explain to people who don't know, because you've got to love Pussy Riot and what they stand for and what they've sacrificed. Can you just tell our audience who Pussy Riot is?
Yeah. Nadia and her cohorts, they were a punk band from Russia that were demonstrating outside the Capitol. She was in jail for 2 years. Some of her bandmates were longer. But the band Pussy Riot is, I don't know, the modern day Dylan or whoever. Like, they're actually stand for shit and put their money where their mouth is. And she's kind of an icon. And the lyric that I had forever that we put to the song called Stop Making Stupid People Famous just felt like, who could do it justice? Nadia.
Wow, that's fantastic. I think Shepard Fairey did a big poster of her as well.
Has he really? Yeah. I think she deserves it. Yeah.
Yeah.
She deserves it, man. She's the real deal.
I would just say one more thing about Canada. The real Spinal Tap is Anvil.
Have you guys seen that doc?
Yes.
Brilliant. Brilliant. They re-released it like a few years ago, and I was at the screening, and Anvil played right after, and it was real life Spinal Tap. Their wives were outside selling the merch.
Oh, no.
It was amazing. I mean, those guys are
That's
just
classic.
They're living the dream.
Whatever version of the dream that is. Yeah, that is really something. Anyway, Raine, thanks so much. This has been a lot of fun. Where can our listeners follow what's happening with Our Lady Peace and the things you're working on?
Yeah, we like to keep it real. OurLadyPeace.com is not a bad place to go, even though people don't like that anymore. Obviously, our Instagram. We're just about to announce some U.S. headlining dates for probably February, March down here. So we're really excited about that. Tons of new music coming. Maybe this is an exclusive, but I've been watching cuts of a documentary we've been doing on a fan of ours from Yonkers, New York. It's crazy. We followed her. She's seen over 150 shows
Huh.
over our career. She's a tough New Yorker, and she came out to a bunch of shows on the Canadian OLP 30 tour that we did. And it's just an amazing character portrait study on fans and how powerful music is in their lives. And we've been doing edits, and I've been sending notes every day, and I can't wait for this to come out. We're trying to get in some of these bigger film festivals, but it's fascinating.
Cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. So, well, thanks again. This has been a lot of fun.
I
Yeah,
appreciate
really
it,
nice
guys.
meeting you, Raine. Thank you.
Yeah, you too, man. Go Brewers, right?
That's right.
I've lost my edge, listeners. An opportunity missed. Raine is the first Canadian we've had as a featured guest on Too Much Effing Perspective, and just like we did with Slater-Kinney when we asked Corin Tucker and Kerry Brownstein to do a round robin of their standout memories from playing legendary rock clubs like CBGB and the 930 Club, or when we challenged Mudhoney's Steve Turner to rattle off personal stories with the Mount Rushmore of 90s grunge scene, Kurt Cobain, Eddie Vedder, Jerry Cantrell, and even Courtney Love, we should have done the same thing with Raine, and with Canadian music personalities. Think about Spinal Tap moments with Neil Young, Rush, Sarah McLachlan, the Tragically Hip, Bare Naked Ladies, Justin Bieber, Bob and Doug McKenzie. Imagine those stories. Well, that's all you can do, because I didn't think of it until a day or two after our conversation with Raine. Oh! A regret that'll last a lifetime. Too Much Effing Perspective is a Milwaukee Talkies original. Our editor is Gretchen Kilby. Our music composer is J.K. Harrison. Please follow us on Instagram at TMEP Show. Visit our website at tmepshow.com to sign up for our email list. And find our other episodes featuring rock stars, comedians, and entertainment luminaries on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen.
Although it would be as great as having armadillos in our trousers, this podcast is not affiliated with This Is Spinal Tap, and no person or entity connected with the film has sponsored or endorsed its content. This podcast is not affiliated, sponsored, or licensed by Authorized Spinal Tap LLC or Century of Progress Productions.
Evergreen Podcast Network.